all families everywhere are really looking at how do we help our children on these paths and how do we prepare them for a future we can't even imagine. Well, we really need to start when kids are 5 or 6. And I can't tell you how many people really think, what, 5 or 6? Um, but yes, 5 or 6, because what we discover is that it turns out children are picking up the family's behavior and values as young as 18 months. And so you can imagine by the time they're 4, 5, 6 years old, they've been watching the patterns in their family. They have been understanding that there is a way to behave. Modeling has been going on. So when I talk about those very young children, I'm talking about how we communicate values and language early on. And we do that through stories and games and experiences that are communicating things in quite a deliberate way. So I think young children, tweens, teens, college students, and young adults. So I think developmentally, when I talk about kids, it's a broad spectrum. It's very similar to teaching a second language or a third or fourth language to kids. The earlier, if you're learning Spanish from, young teachers or nannies, you're going to pick it up pretty quickly. If you're not picking it up until you're in your 30s or 40s, you have to take a pretty strong immersive course. You can still learn it. It's just a different mode of learning. Money is the same way. One of the great advantages of the foundation, I think, is this ability to facilitate a conversation so that you can move people along and they don't get stuck in, well, I don't know what I can do, and that's a very important transitional moment. Coming to common ground is great, but I really am more and more looking for third ways. That is not your way or my way, but a new way. How do we take what we each bring to the table and find a new way, a fresh, innovative approach to whatever it is we're trying to do, and let go of having to be right or having to be the winner. I think it was Eric Hoffer who said, the learners will inherit the future. The learned will be prepared for a world that no longer exists. And I think whether you're 65 or 15, if you are part of a learning family, a family that really is engaged in and kind of eager and excited about and curious about learning, I think you will raise family members who understand that they're not going to be judged for so much for what they don't know. They're going to be encouraged to learn what they don't know. Legacy isn't just what one generation hopes to leave behind, though it certainly starts there. I think legacy over the last couple of decades has become somewhat more organic, because you are pulling in other generations, you are pulling in other members of the family. And so if it's just your way of the highway, you're going to lose the rest of the family pretty quickly. And I think figuring out, looking at legacy as a living, breathing, evolving set of ideas and values in the family is how you keep young people engaged. If they think they're just making you happy because they have to do whatever you've told them to do, they're going to go off and do their own things pretty rapidly. But if they feel like they're part of this thinking, breathing organism that's coming up with these things together, they're in. I get so excited about families because the potential is so extraordinary. There's so much in families that we have not tapped. We've been working at innovation in businesses for decades, forever. I do feel that we're just at the beginning of understanding the capacity and the potential of families to tap and develop their own innovative cultures. And so you can see, I tend to get a little carried away because I think, this is where change happens. It is in these small family units, and some of these families, as you know, are not small, they're huge. But it's in our family units that we begin to model change. And if we can do that with enough families, we change communities and we change the world.